Hi guys, as Northern Ireland finally, after 2 years, sees members of the Assembly return to form an executive, not everyone is happy with the situation. Now, the DUP boycott has come to an end following what appears to be promises by the UK government on the issue of trade between Great Britain and Northern Ireland. Sir Geoffrey Donaldson faced down his rebels and seems to have won over his party. But some on the outside see nothing but a betrayal. Here Jim Alister, who was flanked by loyalist blogger Jamie Bryson, claimed this was a wrong turn and would lead to a united Ireland. Have a listen.
Well, unionism is headed very much in the wrong direction if it heads down the road of being protocol implementers. It is accepting, as I've said, that never again will Northern Ireland be a full part of the United Kingdom. And whatever little footnote I might be in history, I want it to be that I called this out, that I was clear and emphatic that this was very much a wrong turn, and a wrong turn from which it would be very difficult to recover. That for me is my overwhelming emotion about what's happening is one of sadness, particularly in respect of those I stood on platforms with, saying the same things as we were saying then, but now saying something which heads in the opposite direction. So it is overwhelmingly one of sadness, and a warning to unionist people that this deal is going to continue to usher them out of the United Kingdom, remembering too that all the foreign laws that govern our goods economy are the identical foreign laws that govern the Irish Republic's goods economy, because they're all EU laws. They're not British laws, they're EU laws. And we have been aligned economically through the protocol with the Irish Republic as a stepping stone to sustaining and establishing the all-Ireland economy.
Now, Jim is a bit of a heckler. He's somebody who sits in the audience and criticises the comedian, but will at no stage get up and tell the jokes himself. What I mean by that is he has been instrumental in convincing members of the DUP to rebel against the leadership and not go into an executive with Sinn Féin. Because the DUP have always been worried about losing support to the TUV. Jim Alister is the head of the TUV. And this protocol issue is a smokescreen. The real concern the extreme elements in unionism have is the idea of a Sinn Féin First Minister. So I keep saying this, the TUV and certain elements of the DUP put pressure on the DUP itself not to go into government with Sinn Féin, not to form an executive. And what happened in 2022 was Sinn Féin became the biggest party after the election, and they had the choice of First Minister. And this, for many unionists, extreme unionists, was, okay, this is the end of the union. So they pulled the plug. But they couldn't pull the plug because of Sinn Féin, because that would be anti-democratic. They had to find an excuse. And of course, the protocol was the excuse. The protocol. You're implementing this protocol. We're against this protocol. It's undermining the union. What we need to do is boycott the executive in order to force the UK government to scrap the protocol. But the protocol is an agreement between the UK government and the EU. And the Northern Ireland executive has very little or no impact on the protocol. So when Jim Alister talks about implementing the protocol, well, that's the UK government. In the House of Commons a few days ago, Chris Heaton-Harris talked about how it's the UK government that's carrying out the checks on goods between Great Britain and Northern Ireland. It's not the EU. This was agreed as part of the withdrawal agreement. But Jim is just sitting on the sidelines complaining. What is Jim's alternative? What would Jim suggest would be an alternative to all of this? Well, I think he would prefer direct rule. So the executive to be closed down, Stormont to be closed down, and for Westminster to rule. But that's not compatible with the Good Friday Agreement. There's supposed to be a functioning executive. But once again, he's one of these extreme elements in unionism who was against the Good Friday Agreement. He was against everything. And he doesn't actually provide an alternative. Although perhaps his alternative is for Northern Ireland to leave the single market, to no longer be part of the single market when it comes to goods, and for there to be a hard border on the island of Ireland. Because once again, he's not a fan of the Good Friday Agreement. He said at the end, towards the end, that he would be a footnote. He probably won't even be that. Let me know in the comment section, guys, what you think. As always, your comments are greatly appreciated. Thanks a lot.